Hey, what's up Aquamigos? How are you guys doing today? If you're new here, my name's Tobias and a long time no see, guys. I was actually, as you can see, obviously I'm home now, but I was in Europe for 4 weeks. Then I came home for like 2 weeks. I worked like crazy for like 2 weeks. Then I left again. I went to Mexico for 1 week and of course now I'm home. And I actually want to show you guys some products that the company RainPoint sent me. Check this out. And the cool thing is that these products that I'm going to show you, I think I'm going to actually be able to use these to top up my ponds while I'm out of town and I'm not physically here to do it myself. But anyways, over here, right here, I have a programmable water timer for a garden hose. And I'm actually going to go ahead and roll the unboxing of that for you guys first, because I actually came out here and I unboxed them a few days ago, and then I actually came out and set it up here just yesterday, just because I wanted to make sure that it was working properly before making this video. I just wanted to make sure that I knew how to use it the right way. So that's what that is right there. That is a water timer. So we'll come back and take a look at that in a second. I just want to show you the other product which I have over here, and this is a water flow meter, and I have it hooked up to this hose right here. That's what that is right there. I tested this thing out yesterday as well, but over here, this water timer, I just have some notes here on my laptop, so that's what I'm reading from as I'm talking to you guys. But this programmable RainPoint water timer goes for $30 on Amazon, and there's actually also a $37 option if you want the one that has the brass fitting for the faucet. I just have the plastic one, and I'll put the Amazon links for both of these down in the description below in case you want to check those out. The cool thing about this is that you don't need an app to control it. But anyways, let me go show you guys how I set it up. It's actually super easy to set up. So it actually comes with some plumber tape, so I went ahead and put that on the faucet before I screwed it on. And then as you can see, I have this really short hose that I just screwed on to the bottom end of it, and then I have that connected to my dechlorinator. Now I should mention, this is more something that's designed more to be used to like water plants or something like that, but I want to use it to top up my ponds with dechlorinated water. So I pretty much attached it to my inline dechlorinator, and then of course I have my other hose going over here, going all the way to the pond. And as you can see, I have it right here going into that pond. And so basically the way I have it set up right now is that every morning at 8 a.m. it's going to turn on for 3 hours and 59 minutes. That's the max you could have it on for. Check it out, the fish are ready to eat. Oh my gosh, I might need to feed those guys real quick. But this is how I set it up. So if we look at the water timer right now, it says 19:09 because that's what time it is right now. It's 7:09, and then it says 8 a.m. and that's because it's going to turn on at 8 a.m. That's the next time it's going to turn on. So basically what I did is, because for the water to pass through my dechlorinator, it has to pass through the dechlorinator very slowly. So I just opened the valve very slightly. You know, I didn't open it all the way. I just opened it very little so that the water could pass through very slowly, because if it goes too fast through that dechlorinator, it may not actually dechlorinate the water. Now, just to show you guys an example, I'm going to go ahead and hold the manual button for a few seconds to open the valve so I can show you it while it's turned on. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now it's going to be watering for 9 minutes. I don't know if you could hear that click. That was the valve opening. So let's go take a look at the other end of the hose. And there should be water trickling out very slowly. And there we go, guys. Water is trickling out. And yeah, that's basically how I have this thing set up. So every morning at 8 a.m. it's going to do that. And I actually set it up yesterday and I checked on it this morning at 8 a.m. and sure enough, it turned on at 8 a.m. So everything is working as it should. So I'm going to go ahead and just hold this manual button again to turn it off. And that should be it. I don't know if you guys could hear that click noise, but that click noise was the valve shutting again. But yeah, if you do want to just turn it on to use your hose manually, you can just use that manual button. Now, when it comes to setting this thing up, all the settings are right here on this knob. This knob and these buttons is what you're going to use to set this thing up. So when you're setting this thing up, the user manual is going to tell you to do this thing where you're pretty much just opening and closing the valve inside the water timer. And I think that's just to make sure that it's working properly before you set it up to water. And after you do that, you're ready to go ahead and set it up. And I'll show you how to do that. It's actually really simple. Oh, and by the way, it does take 2 AA batteries. I should have mentioned that. But anyways, the first thing that you're going to want to do is set the clock. So go ahead and just move the dial so that this arrow right here is pointing to set clock. And you can have this thing on either a 12-hour cycle or a 24-hour cycle. I have mine on the 24-hour cycle, and then you just set the time. So like mine's already set, so I'm just going to go ahead and click OK on both of those. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn the knob to start time. And this is the time that you want the water to turn on. So I have mine set to 8 a.m., but as you can see, you can use these plus and minus buttons to set it to whatever time you want. So I have mine set to 8, and then if you want it to come on at like 8:10 or like 8:15 or whatever time you want it to turn on, you can go ahead and set that with these plus or minus buttons, and then of course hit OK for the time that you want it to be at. And then for how long, that's right here. So the max amount of time that you can actually set it for is 3 hours and 59 minutes. I have it set to the max just because my water is trickling so slow. That's perfectly fine for me. And then I'm going to go here to the next dial. So anyways, as usual, I should have mentioned, you know, use the plus and minus buttons and then hit OK to set it to the time that you want, and then just click OK. And then turn it to the next setting, which is how often. So this is where you'll set how often you want it to water. So I have mine set to water every day, but you can also set it to water every 2 days, every 3 days, every 4 days. However, you can also set, you know, how often you want it to water in terms of hours. So if you want it to water every 12 hours, every 11 hours, every 10 hours, and so on and so forth. So I just have mine set to water once a day. So I'm going to go ahead and leave mine at that. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it one more time to on. So now it's reverting back to the time, and the next time it's going to water. So right now it's 7:31 and it's going to water at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the thing that I like about this water timer is how simple it is to set up. I think it's really going to help me when I'm out of town and I need to add water to my ponds. I don't have to bother someone to do it for me. I can just set the timer and leave it. Now let's take a look at the water flow meter that I have on this hose over here. So as you can see, I have the gallon flow meter right here, and I also have a 5-gallon bucket right next to it. By the way, this goes for $27 on Amazon. I'll go ahead and have the link for it down in the description below. And I'm going to just go ahead and turn the water on, and you know, the water will be going straight into this bucket if I can just get the hose to stay in there. All right, let's leave that. So as you can see here, it's telling us how many gallons we're using per minute. I know there's like a crazy glare on there, but we are getting 4.3 gallons per minute. All right. So I'm just going to wait for that to fill up. And then at the end, I'll show you guys, I just want to kind of do a demonstration for you guys so we can see how accurate it is. So if you press menu, it should show you how many gallons of water you've used. So it should say 5 gallons once I finish this, and there's actually 2 pages. It'll make sense, I'll explain everything, but let's just go ahead and wait for this to fill up. Okay, so the bucket's just about completely full. I'm going to go ahead and turn the water off. All right, so it should say that we used 5 gallons of water. As you can see, the water flow is at 0 because I turned the water off. And then if I click menu right here, it says last. This is how much water we used in our last watering. So it says we used 5.7 gallons of water. Now, this is a 5-gallon bucket, but this is a pretty long hose. So I'm thinking what is happening is that there is 0.7 gallons of water in this hose. Like, it's pretty long. Like, I believe that could be 0.7 gallons. So in my opinion, I think this is pretty accurate. So I just want to mention really quick, guys, like you might notice that the screen looks all discolored on camera. That's actually due to the polarizing lens that I have on my camera. So I'm going to use my phone's camera to actually take a video of this. All right guys, so it's actually 2 days later and I actually came out here to re-record this part of the video because I realized when I was editing the video that I did a really bad job of explaining this. I made it sound way too complicated and it's actually really simple. So if I go through the menu, you'll notice that all the numbers are different because I cleared some of the menus. I think I cleared both of the menus and then I was using the hose again. So anyways, basically the way this is going to work is right now, it's at 0, and that's because we have no water flowing through here. If I press the menu button, it's going to show us how much water I used the last time that I turned the water on. So in the last watering that I did, I only used 2.1 gallons. If I press the menu button again, we'll go to the next window and it'll say 7.8 gallons. So this is the total 1 window. And then if I press the menu button again, we'll go to the total 2 window. So I cleared this one and I started at 0 again. It says 2.1 because I started at 0 the last time that I watered. So with that, you can actually keep track of 2 different watering totals. So for example, if I wanted to keep track of how much water I used in a day, I can go to either of those 2 menus. So for example, I'll just go to menu or total 1. I'll hold the menu button and I can clear that so I can start from 0 again. And then I can see how much water I used today. While, for example, on the second total, say I wanted to keep track of how much water I use in a week, I could just have this going for a week and I won't clear it. Hopefully that makes sense. So you can keep track of 2 totals because there are 2 total windows, and if you want to clear either of the windows, just hold the menu button until it goes to 0. This button over here will flip the orientation of the screen. So say you have this upside down or something, just click this button and it'll flip the screen upside down so it's easier for you to read. And that's it. But anyways, I think this is a great tool if you're trying to keep track of your water usage. And actually, I just had an idea. I can actually take that water flow meter if I want to. I think I'm gonna leave it here for now, but I think what I might do is I might take that and I might attach it to the other end of my dechlorinator so I can see how many gallons of water I have to add to my pond like in a week or so. I can actually do that now. Yeah, maybe I'll do that in the future. But anyways, I want to give a huge shout out to RainPoint for sending me their water flow meter and also their water timer. I think these are going to be great for helping me add dechlorinated water to my ponds automatically. It's going to be great for when I'm out of town and even for when I'm home because we're in the summertime now. It's extremely hot and the water evaporates fast. I even had to put up my umbrella, but of course the sun's away now, so I'm gonna go ahead and just put that down in case the wind kicks up. Ugh. And as usual guys, if you did like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you went down there and gave this video a like. That would help me out so much. Once again, I will have the links for these 2 RainPoint products down in the description below in case you want to check those out. If you'd like to see more of my pond build progress in the future, we're going to be getting started on that again very soon. I made some pretty good progress before I left on my travels and I'm really eager to get it finished. So make sure to subscribe for that. I'll go ahead and put my Instagram right here in case you'd like to follow me there, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Peace.